Hey, this is Heather Wong from Heather's Herps, and you're listening to Herp Herp Hooray.
It says here we should work in teams. I tend to think of myself as a one-man wolf pack.
You're about to enter Information Overload, a worldwide transmission with Herp Herp Hooray's featured Breeder of the Week. Here's your host, Jason Rossi.
I would like to welcome you back to Herp Herp Hooray, a weekly worldwide transmission. I'm your host, Jason Rossi. We are simulcasting on RossiReptiles.com, Buzzsprout, and don't forget to subscribe and download us on iTunes. This week's featured Breeder of the Week seems to have hit the jackpot on a new project, and not to mention his beautiful offspring he has available. I'm pleased to announce this week's special guest, Mark Petros from BallPython777.com. Mark Petros, Reptiles. Mark, welcome to Herp Herp Hooray.
Hey, Jason. How are you tonight?
I'm excellent. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule and coming and talk with us.
No problem. My pleasure.
Well, let's get right to it, man. Give us a little history and some background on that Blue Ghost project you got there.
Well, it was, obviously just came about by accident. We didn't know what was going on. It's actually a breeding loan I did with a good friend of mine, George Kanak of GLK Herp. And, I had a couple male honeybees, and I didn't want to produce a zillion honeybees, so I loaned one of them to him. And he took it to some het ghosts that he had, and this weird silvery gray thing came out, and after a few sheds it started looking more of like a bluish gray, and now at a little over a year old it's probably looking better than it's ever looked before in terms of being more blue, and it's just a real unique color, not necessarily the best ball python ever produced, but it's just a lot different than anything else that's out there. So we're not sure what's going on. If there's obviously if it's genetic, there was some extra gene that both the male and the female had and both hit on, in addition to being a ghost. So I don't know. Time will tell. The one we hatched was a female. We're going to have to raise her up, breed her back to the dad, and then see what happens. And hopefully it's not just a fluke that's not genetic, but that's a possibility as well. From some of the other people I've talked to and some of the people that saw it at the Tinley Park show in March, people were excited about it, and everyone was pretty much thought that it was genetic. But until I see some blue babies hatching out, I don't know.
So would this mean that it's compatible with other ghost lines if you had het ghost females?
Well, at least that one part of it would be compatible. The regular ghost part, whatever this other gene is, who knows? I just don't know.
Well, I can't wait to see it mixed in with some other morphs. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I just want to prove a genetic and hatch out one, and then if it is indeed something genetic and something that we could reproduce, then anything you do with a ghost or an ultramel or any sort of color mutation, we can mix it in with all these other pattern mutations and make mix it in with super stripes and genetic stripes and tri-stripes and pinstripes and spiders and anything that has a pattern we could put with this, and it would be outrageous.
So have you sold some of the offspring, that the siblings to these?
No, not really. It was kind of awkward how it all came about, because that male honeybee was bred to like 4 different het ghost females, and my buddy was in the process of moving, and we weren't really sure what this thing was, and it was in a shed when I got it, and some of the offspring kind of got commingled. So I couldn't really definitively say that this was this or this was that. I've got stuff that I know are definite, at least half siblings, with the same father, but I couldn't definitively say if it was from the exact same clutch. So I didn't want to market anything as, possible head for this or that, but, I did have some stuff that was, fathered by the same, the same father. So depending on how you want to look at it.
How big is this girl now, would you say about?
She's, she's not giant that I'm going to try to breed her at 18 months, but she's certainly not a little picky, finicky eater either. She's about, 850, 900 grams. So, she's doing fine. Should be able to go about a year from now, November of, 2013 is probably when we'll start breeding her, and hopefully spring we'll get some babies.
Well, I wish you luck on that endeavor.
Thank you.
So let's talk about that yellow-bellied firefly, man. That's an outstanding combo. I mean, definitely must-have for collectors and breeders out there.
Yeah, that's turned out really good. The firefly yellow belly and the superfly males I had, and I bred them to a couple different things and hit on some cool combos. It was just kind of weird, a few years ago I didn't really even pay that much attention to a fire gene, and Brock Wagner was, I was talking with him, and back then it was like there weren't even hardly any fireflies out there, and he goes, I got this male fire and I'm not sure what to do with it, and he goes, you got a bunch of pastels. He goes, you want to do a breeding loan? And I go, okay. And he gave me this fire, and I put it with a couple pastels, and we hit on a handful of fireflies, and I think we produced 6 of them, and they were all males, and me and him were like so happy. We're like, all right, we got fireflies, and we each took 3 male fireflies and raised that up and, did some other projects with it. And it was just kind of weird that something that, just like a casual conversation, hey, do you want to take this fire? Yeah, what the heck, I don't mind. And, it turned into firefly yellow bellies and butterflies and ultra flies and dragonflies and fire ghosts. And, I just thinking back that, all these combos and doubles and triples and quadruples, all just came from, like a casual afterthought of a breeding loan. So worked out well for both of us, and I know Brock's made, tons of cool things over there as well.
It all starts with an idea. That's it.
Yeah, it starts with something and just keeps going. And I really like that fire gene and what it does, and it mixes well with stuff.
Are you shooting for any super fires, or are you just trying to mix the fire into other combos?
It wouldn't be bad for me to have a super fire. I didn't really try to produce any this year, but I probably will try to produce some next year, just to have that other white snake and just to have the super form, when you're mixing stuff, to know you're not going to miss on or to leave anything to chance. And then, some of the other stuff, I've picked up some, Orange Dream stuff and Super Vanilla stuff. So, I mean, there's, Enchies and Super Enchie stuff I've got chances on. And all that stuff hasn't been put into the Firefly Yellow Belly stuff. So, I mean, it looks great how it is, but I just saw mixing it with pinstripe and mixing it with butter, some of the crazy things we got there. But there's, just, I don't know, with the ball pythons in general, there's a million things you could do with everything. You just keep adding and adding and making it brighter and more contrast and more outrageous and cleaner. And, there's just so many more steps and layers to go into.
Well, speaking of the Super Vanilla, I was watching one of your videos earlier, and that thing does get better with age, because you wouldn't even notice that was Super Vanilla as a hatchling or, a little juvie. But, man, that thing is just so bright. It screams.
Yeah, that's a good thing with the Super Vanilla. Vanillas will lighten up, but the Super Vanilla is just outrageous. They look nice as babies, but, morphs that get better and lighter and brighter as they age. I really like that. Because, it's a business, but you're a hobbyist, and I'm doing it because I love the animals, and to go down there and open that drawer and just see this thing glowing like you dipped it in a nuclear reactor or something, I'm like, that's cool. And every time I open the cage to look at these Super Vanillas, I just really get excited about some of the things we could do with them.
And then just something so simple as vanilla and fire. You get the vanilla creams. Those things are outstanding also. They're just...
Yeah, just 2 simple genes, to make a vanilla cream. And then, the Vanilla Scream and Vanilla Dream, and these are just even not too complicated triple morphs, but just adding pastel or yellow belly, just outrageous, really really cool looking animals and super popular, and I think it's a really really good thing to work with.
Yeah, I need to add some vanilla myself. So.
Well, I picked up all my stuff. I went right to the source and got the stuff from Gulf Coast, and those people were really really nice to deal with, and I couldn't be happier with the vanillas and super vanillas I got from them.
Chris and Sheila down there?
Yep, absolutely. Chris and Sheila down at Gulf Coast.
Awesome. Well, let's switch it up to your sugared lemon blast. That is definitely no regular lemon blast once you look at it when it's older there.
Yeah. The sugar had some cool combos with the sugar lemon blast and the sugar bumblebee and super pastel sugar. And this year will be kind of interesting because some of the things that I held back, some of my initial sugar crosses I'm going to have some of those females up to size. So I'll have a pastel sugar up to size this season, and possibly a bumblebee sugar up to size, and just trying to think of what I could breed into those. I really like some of the contrast stuff too with the sugars, maybe with like the super cinnamon, super black pastel, a solid black snake, and then maybe hitting it with a sugar and having giant white wall sides on a solid black animal or something. I think that would look real cool, and that's something I'm going to be working on in the future. Mixing in with the GHI stuff. Then again, I think GHI, is great with a lot of things too. So it's tough to stay focused or, concentrate on one thing because you just want to go in so many different directions, and there's so many different morphs and, so many different things you could do.
So what male are you thinking of putting with that sugar bumblebee? Female.
If it gets up to size, I have an Orange Dream Fire that I'd like to maybe do with it, because it's just 2 genes on the male and 3 genes on the female, but no genes in common. So you'd have a chance with a quintuple morph if you hit on it, the astronomical odds. But if you miss, there's still a lot of cool things. If you hit an Orange Dream Bumblebee or a Sugar Fire Orange Dream, or there's so many different combinations. All the double, triples, and quads that you quote unquote miss on are still going to be really cool. So that's off the top of my head probably what I would do if he gets up to size.
The Dream Clutch.
Yeah, I just got into that. I just really, really like all those crazy combos that Ozzy and some of the other people have been producing with the Orange Dream, and I just picked up an Orange Dream Fire from Garrick DeMeyer, and really, really happy with the animal. Garrick produces some great animals, and I really like this little guy we just got. I only wish I had more of them, or picked up a couple, or I need some females now too. I feel like I'm so behind on the project.
Those 2 genes clean up the snake immensely, so that thing's got to be outstanding specimen, I'm sure.
Yeah, and really, really nice and real light. But, again, something like that, an Orange Dream Fire, maybe take that to a super vanilla female. And, my friends, because these things are just getting so bright and so clean, and, pretty soon you have to wear sunglasses to look at everything.
So how's your season going?
Well, yeah, I guess like everyone else, things could always be better, things could always be worse. A little bit of a late season, and, had some good clutches, had some disappointments. So, give it, maybe a B so far, B minus. In terms of, if you had this conversation yesterday, probably would have been a little bit better, but I just had a couple really, really bad clutches today hatch out where I just kind of got skunked on some odds, so I'm not as enthusiastic as I was maybe 24 hours ago. I had like a male GHI, and I bred him to a couple females that had been bred by other things, and he's yet to father anything. Every clutch he's been with, he hasn't fathered any of the eggs. So I don't know if he was just too young, or he hit these females too late, or what the deal was. But he bred a couple things, and I haven't produced any of them yet, though. So I would kind of a big disappointment there. But next year he's going to be with females that no one else has been with, and I'm sure we'll get a bunch of them next year.
That's sure a deal. So let's go back 24 hours. So go back in time.
Yeah.
So what was some of the cool stuff that you've hatched out then this season?
Some of the good things we hatched?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I was real happy with all the Firefly crosses. We did a super pastel fire yellow belly, the ultra fly. We had a couple real nice dragonflies, the Firefly pinstripe. We produced some killer clowns or super pastel clowns. It's a project I've been working on a long time, and I know it's not anything that's never been done before or anything, but still a point of personal satisfaction to start a project and go through all the steps of starting from scratch and finally producing them. We actually got a pair of them in one clutch, and they look really, really nice. I was really happy with these super pastel pieds. I don't know, just some of the things that aren't that crazy, but are just nice to look at. I mean, we produced a bunch of clowns that are really nice, and even some regular pieballs and pastel pieballs, mystic potions, vanilla creams. We're waiting on our first crystals to hatch. So it's been good. It just would have been a lot better if I had some GHI Mojaves and things like that. But I can't complain too much.
Yeah, I guess you could take what you got and run.
Yeah, things could always be better. Things could always be worse. So, we'll just see what happens, and nothing you could do about it. I could put the snakes together and take care of them and feed them and clean them and make sure the eggs hatch, but I can't control the odds. So, I can't get upset or stress about stuff, and I'm sure everyone has clutches like that where they, hit 1 out of 8 or, totally get skunked on stuff, and it seems like when it happens to you on the real bad things or a certain clutch you really have, marked as a great potential clutch, it just you seem to remember those more than anything.
It just makes next year all that much better.
Yeah, when you actually hit on something, or maybe next week will be that much better when odds turn around on something else.
Okay, so what is your next investment in the ball python market?
Boy, I don't know. There's a number of things out there that I like that I don't have. It's just, there's pros and cons of everything. If I had to have a short list of things I was looking at, I definitely like the tri-stripe, more that the Sutherlands originated. Kind of intrigued with the Ultramel stuff. I really like the Highway ball. I've got Super Stripe and Puma stuff, but I don't have any Highway stuff yet. I like that. I like the Banana Ball, but not at the price that they're at versus how many I know are out there. I think that's, I don't know. It's kind of a crazy market, and I just don't want to get in on that in the wrong time when it bursts. I know some people have done really well, but I also know what's happened to other, single morph codon things that just exploded and, plummeted. So I love how the animals look, but I'm a little cautious on that morph right now.
So do you vend any expos?
Yeah, not too many shows anymore, but I will be doing the NARBC show in Tinley Park coming up in the middle of October. Every now and then I'll bop in at like a little local show. There's a show out in Wheaton, Illinois, monthly at DuPage County Fairgrounds. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year I'll stop over and do that just because it's local, by my house. And there's a couple little shows in Wisconsin that I'll do periodically, but I'm not much of a person for shows. I run another business where my time is pretty much committed on the weekends with that. And I do most of the sales with the snakes, via the website and advertising on King Snake and, just internet stuff and repeat sales. It seems to be a more cost-effective or better utilization of my time just to answer phone calls and take pictures and respond to emails than, driving, halfway across the country and just sitting at a booth all weekend. So I'll do it periodically, but it's just not, I'm not one of these people that are going to be doing shows every week and going all over the country and, chasing stuff down like that.
So which show is your favorite and why?
Well, probably the Tinley Park show, the NARBC show, just because it's, it is a big show and it's, a national thing, and it's, a little bit over an hour from my house, so it's a lot going on there, and I get to see people from friends from all over the country that I might talk to here and there, but I never really get together with everyone and see everyone, and it's fun. Hopefully you make some money, but if not, it's still like a nice party weekend where you get together with a bunch of people and kind of hang out and get away for a little bit of a weekend without killing yourself and the animals in your car and driving halfway across country. So I'm looking forward to that show in a couple weeks.
Nice. So what other species of reptiles do you keep?
In terms of commercial and doing this for a living, ball pythons are pretty much the main thing I work with. I've got a little side project where I picked up a couple morphs of western hognose. Last year was the first year that I bred those guys, and I just had a couple little clutches, so nothing much to speak of, and it's with the genetics and the morphs, it's like learning a whole new language and a little bit different husbandry, and so I'm just kind of treading lightly in those waters, but I'm enjoying it, and it's a cool different little species to work with. Definitely 100% different than working with ball pythons. But, a little diversity never hurts, and they present their own unique set of challenges, and hopefully we can master them and get going with that as well. I also have some Amazon tree boas. I've always liked those guys, just, the polymorphism, the different colors, and their robust, sparky little attitudes of always liking a bite. They've got some character to them, and I keep a handful of those guys more or less just for fun, not so much, for breeding or for selling stuff. Just kind of like to have them around.
You want to give us a quick rundown on how you keep your hognoses set up?
Yeah, they like real dry conditions, so I've got them on aspen chips. Very warm, warm and dry, nowhere near the humidity you'd have with the ball pythons, a small water bowl. They have high metabolism, so I'm feeding them twice a week, every 3 to 4 days. And the good thing is, once they're established and good feeders, they will readily take frozen thawed, so I'm not constantly worried about, rodent supplies and if you're going to get live this week, or is it too hot to ship and stuff like that, some of the perils of the ball python business. So in that aspect, it's nice having, frozen thawed feeders. It'll just come up and glom the mouse right off the feeding tongs, when you open their cage. But, some of the babies are a little tricky, and I'm still trying to learn some of the tricks to get those guys to eat. I didn't know it was going to be as difficult as it has been.
So what's the size clutch on those they normally lay?
I guess it's all over the board, and again, I've only done a couple clutches, so it's hard for me to say what's normal, but, I've heard of people having as little as, 2, 3, 4 egg clutches on a little bit, small female, and I had let's see, I think I had a 16 or an 18 egg clutch, the first clutch, the first female I had, and I've heard them having clutches up into the high 20s.
Wow.
So, I guess, big old, giant females could throw a lot, and people readily double clutch them. I've heard of people even triple clutching them, though I certainly would never try anything like that.
Nice. So what morphs did you get?
I've got some albinos and anacondas, pink pastels, toffee bellies, and a xanthic. So I've got 5, visual morphs, but then some of the morphs are like to one extra step. Like I've got albinos that are het for a xanthic, or I've got an anaconda that's het albino, stuff like that. So I tried to get a little bit extra, genetic at play with them, just because I feel like I'm just starting so late, and there's other people with, giant, diverse hognose collections. So it was kind of a dilemma because, you have X amount of dollars to spend and you got to put something in to start a new business, but by the same token, you could put that money in the ball python business where you're going to be successful. So you're doing a little financial teeter-totter with trying to balance out a little bit into the new venture, but not take away from your bread and butter either.
A little diversification.
Yeah, a little bit never hurts. Take a chance.
All right, so what is your view on what we, the herp heads out there, need to be doing to fight against this barrage of laws and legislation like raining down on us?
Well, for starters, just I think supporting, the organizations, like USARC is important through whatever means, people are comfortable with. I think also when you're working with your animals to be responsible. I just hate seeing people, going out in public with a 12-foot snake to try to get sensationalism or scare a girl down the street or, crazy stuff like that, just a negative publicity that we don't need. It's frustrating because, some of the stuff, it's just the arguments against us are just so false. They're not based on science. They're not based on facts, and it's just disproportionate, blown out of stuff by the media, the HSUS and PETA, and their budgets are so big, and it's just it's a tough battle. But I think if people keep doing what they're doing and we keep fighting, and hopefully the truth and logic prevails, and we don't get our hobby and our business taken away from us.
Truth always prevails.
Well, I hope so, but you never know. You just never know with some stuff. Some of the things like with the national thing that they started out in Florida, a yellow anaconda became illegal, but not a reticulated python. I'm glad reticulated pythons aren't. I'm not for any of that legislation, but it just, why would you have a giant snake be okay and a smaller one not be okay? It's just kind of illogical how they went on stuff, and having boas lumped into that have never killed anyone. I don't know.
They're just setting the precedents to they can come back and take those big ones with ease now.
Right.
So they're just going to pick them off one by one if we let them.
Yeah, either species by species or state by state, and just chip away and just mercilessly just keep going after things, and that's what's frustrating. Just like when this bill gets off the table or you defeat this, then there's something else coming. It's just one thing after another, and it gets exhausting sometimes.
I know it exhausted me when I first got into it, and it was like, okay, there's another one, and there's another one. I was like, I just signed this one, I just signed that one. It's like constantly.
Yeah. Like
amazing.
I just want to, be in my basement, breed my snakes, do my thing, make my living. I'm not bothering anyone, and constantly having this black cloud of death of legislation hanging over your head, presents some sleepless nights.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add in closing?
I don't know, not that I could think of. I'm having a good time doing what we're doing, and we've got a lot of nice babies produced this year. I've got a bunch more things in the incubator, and I'm already looking forward to next year's breeding season, though I still have females that haven't even laid their eggs from this season. Just never a downtime. There's always something new and exciting going on, and I really like seeing all the cool different things and new genes that other people are producing, and try to produce as many cool things as I can as myself as well.
Mark, it was great talking with you. Thanks for taking time out and talking with us.
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Make sure to check out Mark's webpage, ballpython777.com. All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Herp Herp Hooray. Don't forget to subscribe and comment on iTunes. And always, we're streaming live on herpherphooray.buzzsprout.com or rossyreptiles.com. Remember, tell your friends about us. Herp Herp Hooray. Out.
is Matt Minatola, and you're listening to Herp Herp Hooray.